having competition is definitely not a bad thing, actually. It's good thing, actually. And I don't believe in, like, when you are the only one, then probably you're doing something wrong. Or maybe, and having competition is a good thing. But the way things like, if you see as the industry, it is a very kind of technologically laggard, actually, in every aspect of it. And at the end of the day, it affects everyone. So finding good information, finding good people, getting visibility online is very important for the lawyers as well, to connect with the right person or the client they really want to work with.
So welcome to the new episode of Digital Brandator Show, and today we have a lawyer in this episode and as a guest, and who is none other than Nishant Bhaskar sir, and he's basically from Bangalore and he's doing much more stuff. So let hear from him himself. And first of all, thank you sir for being the guest of this episode and for my show.
Thank you for inviting me to be part of your show, Mr. AK-47. And we are connected for really long, and after it's really good to be here and discussing with you, talking with you, and to your audience as well.
It's my pleasure. So basically, how this thought process came that converting lawyer things into an digital kind of stuff and putting into platform, how this idea actually came, because that thing blew me up. Because we know in digital marketing there is a service for lawyers and service provider industry, but you are specifically doing for lawyers. And how was your journey of being a lawyer and how this idea actually came up?
Exactly. So I had a huge inclination towards technology even before I actually got into the law school, actually. So I used to be friend with many of engineers, actually, in my early days. So I'm actually an accidental lawyer. So if I was not a lawyer, I would have been an engineer, actually, So that's the first thing. And after completing my law from NLU Delhi in 2013, I briefly worked with an MNC which was working with a publication house based out of UK, and I was closely working with international law firms and for their content aggregation platform, actually. And after that brief stint with them, like that is around 2 years, actually, I founded my own startup. Even I started a content aggregator for legal vertical, which got really hit, and parallelly I ran it for almost a year. And I got huge response from the common man. When they used to have a legal issues, they used to post it on that page. And this is the story of year 2014, somewhere 2014, actually. And after that, I thought of, okay, I cannot personally respond to so many queries on my own. So I think we need to have a platform. And from there, I plan to have my own startup. I struggled to find people to be my team members and everything. We raised funding also. And we named it Pocket Lawyer. It was a legal service marketplace. And we happened to have 5,000 plus verified professionals on our platform, actually.
That's
all
huge.
Over India.
That's huge.
So that's how. So during the Pocket Lawyer days, so we didn't know much about the marketing and everything, but digital was taking kind of its own pace. It was going really fast, and to basically reach out to the right audience, to right people when you are an online business, it's very significant that you communicate through those mediums. We happen to get some of the marketeers and digital marketing agency, but they did not understand the vertical. So it was very difficult for them to implement. So many of the heavy lifting was done by me and my team. So I thought, okay, this is not working. So I ended up learning everything on my own with a good span of time. And so that's how, it ultimately helped us. We had a huge, a blog which had a huge traffic, and from there we were able to generate leads for the individuals who are listed on our platform. And so primarily we focused on the inbound marketing, whether it is SEO, content marketing, and it worked well. Like, we were able to surpass many of such platforms which were already there. And strategically, I read about all these things, available resources online. And during implementation of the same thing, I got to learn my own tricks and the way of doing things effectively. So this is the journey. And then I realized, since I am facing this problem, going forward, there are many lawyers who can have their digital presence without violating the current regulation that is there, that lawyer cannot advertise. So how, through their content marketing and SEO, they can enhance their visibility online, right? So they can, like, as you can see, they have a specialization about kind of arguing and doing their own thing. They are expert of their own thing. But when it comes to marketing, these things are keep on evolving, right? And you cannot learn everything on your own. You don't have time. You need somebody to help you out with that. So I thought, okay, since I'm from the industry, I understand people. I have had like my own legal tech startup. I understand the complete landscape, so I could be the right person to help them out. Creating their online presence, online visibility, and how they can actually build their personal brand using digital mediums, right? And so idea of this AltClik came somewhere around 2017-18. And during that time, I had everything ready. We had launched the website, but I was not very actively doing it. I was not doing it very actively because I was involved in other work as well. So after some time, after pandemic, these things actually got me excited that, okay, this is the new normal now. And if somebody has, and they realize, and even they have, like, in till date history, we never thought that everything could go digital, like, at least in India.
Because yes,
all
country like India, it's not easy to convert everyone into digital. But luckily, pandemic changed all the things around us.
Yeah, it changed the perspective, and it made it a really great, like, kind of give them perspective for people to understand that you don't have to travel everywhere to meet people, to do your things, to manage your things, right? Because ultimately, like, more time we have, the more value we can add to the people through our work and everything. Obviously, this is also important where, physical meeting is very, very significant in certain scenarios. But like 90% of the things can be properly done virtually if we really plan it well, right? The process wise, and it enhances your productivity. You can become very responsive in the way, and you have everything kind of, you have the complete holistic view of the things, what is going on, right? So that's how it happened. And currently we are working with some of the biggest brand in the legal industry, not only in India, but even outside India. And we are helping them to create their strong digital presence. So yeah, this is the brief story and how I, from lawyer to become a digital marketer, particularly for the legal vertical.
Okay, so, and I have another question. What's the name branding behind AltClik? That I couldn't get that. How AltClik? How we kept this name basically? Because that's so clicky. Because that's the only two. That's the only two key we use for our systems and everywhere. How this idea came that AltClik?
Okay, yeah, that is a good question. So see, I was actually thinking about the names and around that. As I told you, this name I coined somewhere around 2017 or 18 actually. So I was thinking to have a specialized marketing agency for legal vertical. And so Alt is like something better version of something, basically, And when we talk about the click, everybody is, and because it was a digital marketing,
so click was a
very better clicks, yes, better clicks. And I wanted to keep it a little wider in the sense. So that is why I named it AltClik, and without the second last C in the click, so that the uniformity could be maintained on any platform, because this was available actually, whether you talk about LinkedIn, Facebook, or even our domain name is just AltClik actually.
Yeah, because basically every brand tries to have their unique name, but they somewhere or other any social media यार यहाँ पे नाम चुप गया यार, बाकी सब पे मिल गया, यहाँ पे नाम चुप गया.
Yes.
So that thing hurts a
Yeah.
lot of brand, but basically you are so
Yeah.
lucky and you are doing a great job,
No, you
seriously.
don't get lucky. You make your own luck. You make your own luck with the thought process, with your research and everything. Even I was having this problem because if you see, click with C was there, which was already taken, and that time it was available. But since it was already used somewhere, I didn't want to use it actually, and I just wanted to give it my own little bit of twist and make it even smaller. So that is why AltClik, AltClik. Yeah.
No, because while I seeing the name, I was like, wait a minute, where's the C? Because basically I was like, AltClik, where is the C? Then I thought that I saw your all social medias, then little like, okay. Now I got the idea what's the reason behind it, but
Yeah.
yes, that was the same.
Yeah.
Basically, it happens with me also because having a name of AK-47, you will get tons of usernames like this, like Ashok
Yeah.
AK-47, AK-47 not 7. I was like
Yeah.
confusing myself. It took me 6 months to decide my name. That what should I put a prefix or suffix for my name, and I get into the
and if you ask me about the relevance, how you can actually. So if you see, like generally this weapon, the AK-47 that is used, widely used, So whosoever uses it, I'm not saying that. So the main reason is that irrespective of the weather, you can get it assembled easily. So you don't have to, make more fixes where irrespective of the weather.
It's not more complicated.
Yeah, and it is easily assemblable. Like you can easily assemble it compared to other sort of weapon, and it's more reliable in the sense. So the reliability of the thing. So that you can construe from this name actually.
Basically, usually people tell me that your name suits with your work because I am flexible with most of the things, compatible with multitasking. People usually tell me because a recent of my client, I was doing a work for him. He suddenly asked, "Can you do video editing?" Okay, give me a minute, I will get it done. Then he asked that I want to do some adjustment with the poster, but my graphic designer is not cooperating with me. Just send me the PST file, I will get it done. Then he was like, "You are not an AK-47. You are a bloody 𝙁𝙤𝙤. You have your own organization."
Yeah. Because generally, see, when we talk about entrepreneurship and all that, we are kind of specialized in one thing. But to make something happen, people are generally multi-potentialate. Yeah. See Elon Musk, he's multi-potentialate. Give him any field, he will learn and he will do it. So that kind of attitude of, I'm not saying that you should do everything. Obviously, you should be expert of one area of the field, but you should be comfortable to learning things at the fundamental level, and knowledge. You can use that information and knowledge in the things that you are working. So innovation does not happen in silo or in one field. When you have good understanding and fundamental understanding of a different field, and when you merge these two things, innovation is kind of very normal, sort of you can think about the things, okay, how these fields can actually, help each other, and you can come up with a different idea. So that is why very important, and you can say that you are multi-potentialate. I think even I can say that even I am multi-potentialate. Yeah,
obviously. And the next question which I want to ask is, basically, I've seen a lot of your content ideas or the posts that you post on LinkedIn, especially on LinkedIn, because I follow you more on LinkedIn when compared to other platforms. Basically, your content is kind of an inspiration as well, and also more valuable to the strategy. How could you keep up like this? How could you maintain this consistently? That's where I actually have a question on that.
Yeah, so many of these things which I shared on any of the platform is usually derived from my personal experiences actually. It's just not like that one day I'm getting some sort of inspiration, okay, let's do it actually. So you plan it out, you note down those ideas, and you see that how you can utilize it, whether it can be in form of a post or article or a video or anything else that I could create around it, and how it can actually add value to the people who are connected with me. Okay, so when like reading something and getting idea from there is one thing, but when you have your own insight around that idea, the practical experiences, so it makes it altogether different, right? So that's why I try to include my understanding, my experience whenever I mention these things and how things have actually worked for me, right? So maybe what is truth for me may not be truth for you, but obviously you can test it out whether it is relevant for you or not, right? So that is how I try to kind of align my ideas and different posts that I do, and I keep making notes. I always do make notes. If anything, even if I'm like thinking something around that, I will simply make a note of it, and sometimes I will review and think that okay, what can come out of it, right? So so that's
That's
how, yeah.
that's a great one. And
Yeah.
the next question which I want to ask is, having this unique face within digital marketing, do you see competition with other competitors doing like thing you are the unique person? Are you a monopoly, or do you have still competition with the same industry?
See, legal industry itself is a very much kind of, very at unique position. Okay, even if you are master of the marketing and all that, it's very difficult to convince a lawyer for a certain
Yeah,
thing.
I understand.
Particularly when you talk about the technology and digital marketing space, I'm not saying that people are not adopting it, but if you really want to add the value, you need to look at things from their perspective, right? So you understand how they are doing things and how do they practice, what are their days like, and what kind of challenges they face, right? And then only you can add value to them when you are trying to help them with visibility and the marketing sort of. So these things I have done it for a really long time during my legal tech space, where we were actively kind of interacting with these professionals, right? So that kind of insights and connectivity that I already have, they feel that somebody from their own community has come to them. And when they're saying something or telling them that, okay, this is going to be the next things and how you can leverage these landscape and the situations or the scenarios or the solutions that we have in place. So it makes more sense to them, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's not possible, other cannot do. Having competition is definitely not a bad thing, actually, it's good thing actually. And I don't believe in like, when you are the only one, then probably you're doing something wrong. Or maybe, and having competition is a good thing. But the way things like, if you see as the industry, it is a very kind of technologically laggard actually in every aspect of it. And at the end of the day, it affects everyone. So finding good information, finding good people, getting visibility online is very important for the lawyers as well to connect with the right person or the client they really want to work with. Because no matter what you do, not even the lawyer, no matter what you do, the first question, anything happens, people go to Google to search their answer, to find services, or even to compare different products and which one they want to go ahead with, right? So if you are not there, you are not in their mind, and and most of the times they are so overburdened with their work, they don't get time to market themselves, they don't get time to have that kind of visibility. They think that just posting on that LinkedIn and couple of posts is enough, because people have different queries. You never know like from which channel or which medium they might come. So it's very important to have a very strong presence online and constantly adding value through different contents and having that kind of narrative, and obviously complying with the current regulation which is in place. So how effectively you can do that, how you can make your website basically a lead generation machine, or like so these things are very important. And if you are going to figure it out on your own, obviously you cannot implement yourself. But if somebody understands the industry, somebody understands what are the practice area that you are focusing on, somebody who can do all these research around that and finding all the relevant kind of keywords and the audiences and the geography that you are focusing on, they can give you the complete strategies and how you need to move in that direction, and in fact help you implement those things, right? So I think that way I can add huge value to them, and that's what I'm doing. And I just love it, this is kind of one of my passion to help this industry, because coming from the same space, I have seen, because being first generation lawyer, it was very difficult for me to get into the mainstream, whether it is a law firm or litigation. I didn't have any godfather. I had to carve my own path. But then I realized, okay, that's fine. I will find my own way. And since I had interest in technology and everybody was convinced, even I knew that no matter where you are, this is the way forward, irrespective of the industry you are working on. So these things happen quite organically. It was not well thought of. Now, when I look back, everything makes sense. So we are always at the right place. We are never at the wrong place. Just remember that, okay? And it's working wonderfully well for me. And and I'm happy that I'm able to add value to these lawyers, law firms, and even legal tech startup, and in some cases, some of the law colleges as well. Yeah.
So that's a interesting one which you said, and I'll come to that law college in a minute, which will be my next question, which is basically, even though my friend, I know two of my friends who is actually studying BA, BL. So actually they were asking that want to work as a junior for a senior, need to get some experience, then we have to fight some cases. Nishant sir, how many cases have you fought? Not being into this industry, how many cases have you fought on, or how many cases have you registered as a lawyer before getting into this industry, before getting into the digital industry?
Exactly. So I have not, as I told you, as a first generation lawyer, I have not gone into the litigation, but I have, done so many work with judges and lawyers actively going to these cases. On my own, I haven't fought any cases, because I am not, so even when you talk about the lawyers, we just think of person who is arguing on in the court before the judges. So that's not the case always, because there are lawyers who work as an in-house with different companies in corporate firms and even these law firms, right? So earlier when I started, I was working with an MNC as a legal researcher, where I was working with indirectly with a publication house. And this publication house is working as a content aggregator for all the global law firms, almost 1,000+ law firms with them. So having that kind of perspective and closely working with these law firms and the publication house, it gave me the idea what kind of activities they are doing to get visibility in other countries. So how these things could be relevant. And ultimately, when Pocket Lawyer happened, my first legal tech startup, and then I got to see the challenges that they are facing and how they struggle to kind of having, and many of them don't just believe it that this would ever work. But if you see, it is already working in different places. Okay, so I have not personally been in a but I know how things could work digitally for these professionals and how these businesses are already utilizing it. So why these business principles that are prevalent and many businesses are using can be used in the industry as itself. It will not only add value to these professionals, but ultimately it will add value to their clients as well. And they should not ignore that actually, right? Because in India, we believe that law is a noble profession, and it is indeed, but kind of restriction that we have. So it should not be complete restriction on the advertisement, but it should be regulated properly, which I personally believe. And that is very important given the current context of the things, the way things are moving forward. So if we don't are able to do, if we are not able to implement those, if we are not looking forward to the things, we would be ignorant and we are harming us. It will do more harm than good, right? And people who are still kind of stuck in that thought, they are completely ignorant of the future. Yeah.
Okay, so that was quite an interesting one. And next question which I want to ask is, usually on social media, if you take any industry, there are some kind of creators or people those who actually post that easy steps to do social media marketing, easy steps to write a book, easy steps to write a blog. You know what I'm trying to say? Is there any lawyer doing like that? ये section में ये चीज आती है, ऐसे कोई social media पे post करता है? So is it actually illegal to do?
Because it will not make sense to the. I agree, but it won't make sense to many of the because many of the common men actually, and they will find it just as a sort of set of jargons actually. So unless and until you face certain challenges, you don't research or try to actively look for such information. There are very few people who and I think it's very important that people take into, because things are little bit, in a way, the way it is written, it is complicated. The common man cannot understand the kind of language that is used. Even they cannot assess certain situation. So in India, the whole approach of people is about cure rather than prevention. They think जब जरूरत पड़ेगी तो फिर लॉयर को ढूंढेंगे, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं सोचते हैं कि पहले से अगर हम प्लान करके जो भी हम चीजें कर रहे हैं, if somebody can advise, they can actually prospectively avoid such problems, right? And when these lawyers, even they are sharing couple of these things, a certain information, generally they are communicate with their legal fraternity only. So these people engage with those posts, and nobody usually cares. So it's very important to simplify those things so the common man could actually understand. So this is very, very, very important. And even in if you would ask me, when we started a blog with my first legal tech startup, we made sure that we don't mention any section or anything like that. We simply kind of break it down in a simplest way that even a common man can understand. And it should be completely conversational, like somebody is speaking to someone, picking up certain ideas, certain issues, and explaining it in a most detailed way, and whatever common questions they might have, so they understand their problem itself. The best sort of sense of marketing is basically educating people. When you do that, you build that kind of connection, you build that kind of trust with them, and they could even assess and reassess their issues at hand. And it will be much easier for you as well to basically help them with their challenge or the problem that they are facing. But many of us are kind of in our own bubble, and so using those sort of jargon, probably it won't help unless somebody is at that level. In some cases, it is important to mention, but it is also important to explain it well, so the common man with a decent understanding of their issues and challenges, they could find it relevant, contextualize such information for their own cases. And so sharing information is one thing, but unless and until it is adding value, it is useless. As simple as that.
Okay, so that was a good one. And the next question which I want to ask is, can you share some of your achievements, any two of your achievements which you will never forget for your end of your life till now?
Okay, so I have been at a very interesting kind of thing. I would say that the first thing first, venturing into a startup world, knowing nothing about the business, nothing, it's just the sheer passion that kind of moved me. And I learned everything on my way, So that was the one moment that I remember, and the day we secured funding for the same. So that is going to be very interesting part of my journey, because this was a whole new learning curve for me parallelly, and we made all the mistakes that we could make, and learned from those mistakes actually. And I find it still relevant and useful for those things. That would be the first one. And the second thing, the experience of working with organizations like WHO. I have actively worked with them for 3 years as a consultant, and helped them to implement a project here in India on a road safety policy. We have closely worked with the state governments, Government of India, and we have trained around 28 professionals and collaborated with different road safety experts all around India. And we happened to be at international forum thrice with my team from 2017 till 2019. So yeah, apart from AltClik, I have a non-profit organization which primarily works on the law and policy research work, currently focused on road safety issues. But we also help different organizations and even the government agencies on different issues as well. Yeah.
No, the second achievement was a huge achievement that I haven't expected, but hats off to you.
Yes.
Hats off to you.
Thank you.
And the next question, which will be around providing services, how is it difficult to approach a lawyer? That can you share some of your experience or tips so that some of my audience will get to know that how hard is to approach a lawyer for this kind of services?
So approaching a lawyer is not difficult. The difficult part is finding the right lawyer who can actually help you out. The whole idea of the first venture that I had is finding the right lawyer. How you could find when you are not allowed to share the information, so how can somebody find the right lawyer, and who will vet that those information are correct or not? Who will make sure that this guy is knowledgeable enough to help with my challenges or my issue? Who will help me understand that the kind of fee that he charges, whether I can afford it or not, right? So still mentioning your fees and these things are definitely not allowed, because people are kind of, make anything mention, and legal fraternity is really, really kind of huge. So this is already kind of barred from under the regulation. So yeah, even if you don't talk about the fees and all that, but the decent information about somebody and their work and everything, overtly and covertly, people are already using platform like LinkedIn and mentioning everything over there. Okay. Right. And you can see that with their activity, the kind of posts they are doing, the way they are engaging online, right? You can actually understand, whether somebody could be, and obviously you can speak up with them and just see, and it's always good to do your own research. So whether lawyer is approachable or not, yes, they are approachable, but finding that lawyer who could be,
that's the main part,
right for your issues, your challenges, because there are several kind of moving parts in this thing. So how would you know that if you don't have? So generally, still, these things are referrals, right? But when we are completely moving in a sort of, nuclear family set, then people are kind of moving from cities to city. Nobody belongs to me. Even personally, if you see, I'm in Bangalore, but I'm not from Bangalore. Just because of the work and the kind of environment that I wanted to be in, I'm here. I don't have much people or network and if anything happens, any legal issues or challenges, whom I will ask? I don't have any references. I will rely on online platform. I will try to look for the information and try to reach out. But fortunately for me, since I'm from the legal background, I already know so many people who are there. I have already worked with so many of these professionals. I know that who are the right person, who could help somebody to solve their issues and challenges. But look at things from the common people. Even I'm a common people, but look at people who are not from the industry. I meant with that, actually, who are not from this same industry, who do not have such network, how they will deal with these issues. So this is one of I think, this is a huge challenge, actually, not letting them share their information online. It is actually, if you see directly or indirectly, it is kind of a problem to access of justice, actually. We keep on talking, there are several startups, and nobody will talk about and question about these things. Innovation doesn't happen just like that. If you're trying to create any solution, the first you should focus on flow of information. That is it is such a superpower these days in the age of internet. And people cannot share, we cannot talk about these. Because the existing mechanism that's in place, this is completely they are self-serving, actually, if you will honestly ask me. So that's the real problem, actually.
Okay, so guys, those who are watching this is the common advice. If you are approaching a lawyer, so make sure you select the right lawyer with your right strategy that you can offer for it. If I'm not wrong, Nishant sir.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so before getting into the last question, which I want to ask is the question: what's your definition of success?
See,
because everyone has their own set of kind of success that I want to achieve this. This will be my success. So everyone has their own success. So what's your success? That this is my end game. That's it. Full stop after this.
So see, many of the like us work for, we have different priorities in our life. Many of have priority that, okay, I should be this rich so that I could, but money can only solve your money problem. Just remember that. There are other problems that money cannot solve. Because I'm not saying that this is not important. This is very important. Okay. But to even create that kind of, it's very important to find something like, that you would love to work, in the sense that it doesn't sound like a work. You simply enjoy doing things. When you have found that, you are blessed. You should imagine that. Okay. And ultimately, the peace of mind is the number one thing that anybody should see, irrespective of what they are doing and what is fair, whether it is a personal, whether it is professional, whatever. Peace of mind is the most important thing above anything else in the world. Okay. So personally for me, when I do, I really want to be sure that, okay, I love these things. It's not that I work with everyone. Like anybody would come, I would just because they are able to offer me that kind of money. It's very important that we have that kind of rapport. We like each other as an individual or organization, the way their value system is in place. So that's how we do it actually. It's not that somebody will come, okay, help me with that. And if it doesn't match to our value system and the approach that we have towards working, probably we won't take up such project. So it is very important. So for me, success, I think I will prioritize peace of mind first, and it's very important. I love what I do. So that is one thing, and I love creating things and meeting people, talking to people. So that is one of my interesting, and that because most of the learning happens through that for me personally, interacting with people from different walks of life and looking at things from their perspective. And obviously, we all need at some point we all work to have that kind of financial freedom, though, so we don't worry about that. As I told in the beginning, don't chase money, just chase the work that you love to do. Money will follow, because money can only solve your money problem.
Not in life.
Yeah.
So no, I had like around, I did so much interviews, but this definition of success will go to my shorts and I will bookmark this. So
Thank
that was a
you.
great one.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last question, so I usually ask to every guest of this show, how was this experience, Nishant?
What experience?
How was the interview experience?
Yeah, I find it amazing, and I think it's a brilliant way to, we may think that we are interviewing somebody, but we, both of us actually learn from each other.
Yeah.
When we share these things. And so for me, even I'm taking away a couple of points in an interesting way and how I'm being perceived as a professional. So this is one thing, and I hope that I'm able to add some value to this conversation to you, or even to your audience who are listening or going to watch. So yes, it was an amazing experience. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for inviting. Yeah.
So that's my honor that I have you on my show. So basically, this show is open for every industry, but the thing is, they should have something to feel value for my audience. So you are a perfect fit for this interview. So that's why I choose you as my guest.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Great.
Okay, so that's a wrap on this episode, guys. If you like this episode, do share this with your friends. And also, don't forget to tag Nishant sir on LinkedIn if you're sharing this on LinkedIn. See you in the next episode with another amazing guest. Till then, get connected and stay with them. Peace out.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Peace out. Yeah.